Hi everybody, this is Maya Good, and this is a quick video I wanted to do about the recent fire in Oakland. I talked a little bit about it on my Quotidian Light channel, and I definitely wanted to address it here. I feel so many emotions right now, and they're all kind of mixed up, so this may be a little rambly. I've been watching the news every day waiting for photos of the people that we lost, because I lost contact with the people that I knew in Oakland, in the art community there. And most of the people that I knew by stage names or kink names or art names. And so it's hard for me to tell if anyone I know has died. But regardless of whether anybody I personally knew died, I feel like as an artist, we've lost something. And this fire reminds me of the fire that happened that sparked the original laws as far as work laws, when a bunch of young girls were killed in the fire in New York City. I think it must have been like late 1800s maybe. And they were trapped inside, and many were lost. And this fire reminds me so much of that. And it has echoes of so many times during our society when we've had mass loss. As a writer, I don't just identify as a writer, I identify as an artist. That is a new identification for me, and it is something I will address in another video. But as a writer, my art comes first at all times. Doesn't matter if there's a love in the way, if location's in the way, if money's in the way, regardless of what happens in my life, my writing has to come first. It's the only way that I'm going to become the writer that I know I'm capable of becoming. And so as I'm watching the news on this fire, I'm looking around where I live. I live in an art space. The art space I live in used to be a mansion. It's very rickety. It has a lot of problems. But we have somebody that's constantly trying to keep it up, to keep it safe, to make sure that everything's working. And we don't have as many people in our house. It's about 16 people. And I think about all the benefits that I've gotten from living in this space. And so while I'm safe, I understand why someone in a large city would want to live in an art space, even if it wasn't necessarily safe. And that's what I want to talk about, because I'm seeing a lot of stories where, and I'm seeing like tweets and stuff where people are like, well, the artists were stupid for living there. What were they doing there? Yada, yada, yada. And what you don't understand is Oakland, the housing market is such that it is extremely expensive to rent a place. And most artists do not make a lot of money until they make it big, if at all. And art is an important part of culture. And I think that's something that society is starting to forget. I've said before, after Trump was elected, that art has a responsibility to culture. Art throughout the years has prompted revolutions. It has changed culture's minds on things. Art helped the gay community break through stereotypes. It is so important that when there's a huge regime change and totalitarian regimes and fascist regimes, one of the first things they do is they try to regulate art. And there's a reason why here in America, there's a long history of supporting art and promoting art. And that's because part of democracy is freedom of knowledge. And freedom of knowledge, you think about that as far as freedom of the press. You think about that as far as freedom of speech. But freedom to create art is equally important, because art touches us on an emotional level. We can read about a war in the newspaper, and we can read about all these facts, and we'll know that it's happening. We might feel bad for a few minutes, but it's not necessarily going to stay with us the same way it will if we go to a museum and we see an amazing photo of the same topic, or we look at a painting that evokes those emotions, or we read a book. We sit down and we read The Kite Runner years after 9/11, and it takes away that fear and it makes people human. And art has the power of doing that. Writing has the power of doing that. In addition to housing being extremely expensive, some types of art take a lot of space. And that's something that performance artists, musicians, potters, painters that work in large format, sculptures, they need that large space in order to create. And so it is necessary for society to provide room for those people that are performing an important service. This isn't just a hobby that has no benefit. You know, when my daughter went off to college and she was trying to be practical, and I told her, regardless of whatever else you study, you need to continue to study art because that's who you are. That's an important part of who you are as a person, and also that's how you're going to give to society, is through your art. And so I'm seeing these posts and things, and it's heartbreaking. You know, I watched the interview from the guy that ran the ghost ship and on the Today Show, and I'd seen so many descriptions of him being hostile and him not answering questions, him being rude. And when I saw the video, all I saw was pain. Yeah, the place wasn't safe. Yeah, I wouldn't go in there. Yeah, I'd heard rumors about how unsafe it was. But the fact is, he's right. This isn't a celebration. This is a mass grave. A mass grave full of artists that have the potential to create and change and inspire. And those qualities are no longer there for those people. And it's heartbreaking. So I don't know what the point of this video is. Maybe to help people understand why someone would live in a situation like that. I can tell you that living here, even though I'm a writer and I could write anywhere, I've said it before, I could write in a closet. My art, my writing has benefited from being in an art space. I've gone to art salons where I've listened to playwrights and I've shared my work with people that are sharing their music, with people that are sharing other forms of art. And through that cross-pollination, my writing has gotten better. And even if I had the money to go and move into a place by myself, I probably wouldn't at this point, unless it was in an area where the art community was really strong, because I get so much benefit from being part of the art community as a whole, not just part of the writing community. That's something that I'm not willing to give up, not for anything. And so I just wanted to take this moment to recognize the loss of these people and to hope that, you know, the people that are running other art communities, other communes, other warehouses will take stock of their spaces and make sure that they're safe so that they don't get shut down, because those spaces are so freaking important to the future of art. And the future of art is important to the future of society as a whole. I think that's all I wanted to say. It just hurts. And, you know, there are certain people that I want to know that they're okay. And I can't know that because I lost touch with them. And I just wait until the images of those people's faces to know that people that I've known weren't there, for one. And I know that that's not going to help. That's not going to make the pain go away. Because, unfortunately, when those photos come out, they may not be people I knew, but they're somebody's parent. There's somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, somebody's cousin. 36 people. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of artists to lose at one time out of one small community. Your community in the Bay Area is not that big. It's just not. And my heart is with all those families. And we just got to keep each other safe. You know, I know it's fun to create all willy-nilly and to have crazy stuff all over the place. But at the end of the day, you still got to be safe. Because if you're not safe, you may not be there the next day to create more art. And that really is the reason why we're here. You know, if We weren't here to create art. We would be working a 9 to 5, and we would be living in some small apartment someplace cheaper, and that would be our life. But for many of us, our dream is bigger. I know mine is. And so, yeah, I hope everybody takes a moment and thinks about that, and really looks out for one another and talks to one another, stops blaming one another, stops accusing artists of being irresponsible and stupid for living in quote unquote crazy conditions. We don't do it for fun. I mean, yeah, living here can be fun, but we do it because we want to create. And society has to make room for that. I don't know how. And in the new administration, I don't know if they're going to want to. It's one of my fears, actually, is the loss of art funding under the new administration. I've been doing a lot of looking at grants for artists and stuff. And here in New Orleans, up until 2010, there was lots of grants for writers. And then really conservative administration rolled through and cut everything. And I'm afraid that that's going to happen everywhere. So all of us, this huge art community at large, needs to come together and feel a little smaller so we can all look out for each other. On that note, ciao.